Okay, post-fight UFC 154. I am not on my groove today. I did not have my notes. I have no nothing. I have my phone, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to use what's up here, which is not very much right now because I'm tired. But I have to admit that at the end of the bout, I was applauding. And anyone who's seen my prior videos knows that I'm not a huge fan of George St-Pierre because I think that I had this I just think he's boring. I just think he holds guys down and he has this method of winning, and people put him up on this pedestal of being this fantastic boxer and being this well-rounded mixed martial artist and being the best at everything at the highest level. And I haven't seen him pull off a knockout or submission in years. But tonight he had me clapping. And I can't say that I'm a George St. Pierre fan, but I can now say that he definitely shows. It's not so much George St. Pierre in the way that he fights. It's in the way he's winning. He's winning these fights and he's winning them convincingly. Tonight's fight was a back and forth blood battle. It was fantastic. It really had me, and especially in the third round, and I'll get to that in a second. It was just it really had me. Oh no, I was regular George St. Pierre fight. Oh, it was just it had me up and down out of my seat, and that's the first time that's happened in a long time. And a lot of the credit, I give credit where it's due, and it goes to Carlos Condit. Carlos Condit kept that fight exciting. It seems that Carlos Condit is going to go back to. It looked like he was going to go back to his dressing room and just kick himself because you could tell he was so frustrated. He was biting down on the mouthpiece, but he was just so hesitant to pull the trigger half the time. I don't think he threw one leg kick, and I think it was 7 for 7. Me and this other guy were tweeting back and forth, and I think it was like 7 for 7. Every time GSP would feint and jab, he would shoot it for a takedown, and Carlos fell for it every single time. I caught on to it probably 2 or 3 times. After the second or third time GSP did it, I'm like, he's doing it again, and he's landing it. And Carlos isn't getting the hooks or stopping it or anything, and he did it again and again and again and again and again and again 7 times. 7 times GSP got the takedown. And this continued in the first round. He gets Carlos down. Carlos is scrambling, trying to throw up submissions and fighting off of his back fairly well. And George St. Pierre is able to lay down a couple elbows to cut Carlos on the right temple pretty severely, and just blood starts leaking down pretty bad. So right off the bat, guys are slippery and it's already bloody. Round one goes to George St. Pierre. We come out for round two, more of the same. George is more than willing to stand with Carlos Condit for as long as he needs to, and then he employs his game plan, which is every single time. And I've called it, I called the results of this contest a month, 3 months when the fight was announced. I called it. It's going to be a 5-round decision, and it was a 5-round decision in favor of George St. Pierre. I thought it would be a 50-45, but I did give round 3 to Condit. But in round 2, they came out. He was more than willing to strike. He did get clipped a couple of times. He managed to keep Carlos Condit on the outside, his back against the fence, kind of like Nick Diaz does. I hate to say this, huge Nick Diaz fan, love Nick Diaz. He did a better job than Nick Diaz of keeping Carlos back against the fence and not letting him control the octagon, or he just kept them really on the outside. He was able to catch him with a few punches and again set up the feint jab and then take him down and employ some punishment. In the third round, however, Carlos threw I think it was a left hook, a right feint, and then he ducked down and threw a left high kick that caught George right in the top of the head. George goes falling down, and Matt Serra style. Oh man, Carlos Condit darts over there and just starts ground and pounding the hell out of George St. Pierre, but showing champion spirit, championship heart. George St. Pierre gets back up to his feet and fights Carlos Condit off, and even one of the judges gave that round to him. However, I did give it to Condit for the knockdown, and he did have him on the ground for quite some time. That was Carlos. That was his chance. I thought the fight was over. I really thought that Carlos was about to dethrone the welterweight kingpin of how many years now, George St. Pierre. And no, didn't happen. Actually, at the end of the round, Carlos ended up on his back again. Beginning of the fourth, more of the same. It was just more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. But more importantly, it's not George St-Pierre's fault that he fights that way. It's his. It works. It's a fighting style that he employs that works. And tonight he made it exciting. So did Carlos Condit. It was a struggle for George. It was a struggle for Carlos. They both fought, and the better man won. And I was educated in mixed martial arts tonight. I was humbled and educated in mixed martial arts tonight. So in round five, they in Carlos's corner, Winklejohn did tell him, "You need to go for this. We need the knockout. We're down." And right away, George went for the takedown. It looked like both guys were tired. It just George St-Pierre was bloodied and battered. Carlos Condit was bloodied and battered. They were all, both of everybody was just, it was mayhem. But it was a fight for the ages. It was an epic 5-round battle. But I knew it would be a 5-round battle. It's just, when are we gonna get finished from this guy? Championship guy should be able to finish some of his opponents. Finishes. I just feel like that's unacceptable for a champion. My baby's crying. It's too late. Sorry I couldn't get more in depth. But there's your post-fight video.
Again, not on my game tonight, guys. I will be back soon with what's up next. UFC on Fox 5, the title fight with Nate Diaz, BJ Penn's return. Now that the welterweight division can move a little bit with Hendricks KO over Campman, which is absolutely amazing, and I'll get to that in another video. He planted, in 46 seconds, he plants just pitch all over again, throws the right hand, and plants Campman right on his ass, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So that's yet another knockout in the books for Mr. Hendricks, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with in the welterweight division. If you ask me, that's someone that needs to meet George St-Pierre. If he plants that right hand on George St-Pierre's chin, he's going down. But they said the same thing against Koscheck. So in the next video, we're going to go more in depth. This is just a rundown of UFC 154's main event. It was a back and forth bloodbath. Round 3 definitely went to Carlos Condit. I can't believe how he caught him with that kick and had him rocked. I thought the fight was over. George St-Pierre showing that he is, one of the most pound for pound. He's up there. He's up there. Number 3, in my opinion, 3 or 4 pound for pound fighters on the planet today. George St-Pierre did an excellent job of ring rust was real. His injury was real. He came back and showed that he still got it. He can still play with the big dogs, and he is in the upper echelon of the mixed martial artists today. And although he didn't go for submission attempts, he did go for some excellent ground and pound. He cut Carlos. He hurt Carlos. Carlos was struggling cardio wise. It was an epic fight. More in depth on the co-main event. Patrick Cote's fight was a little bit of a catastrophe, and the epic robbery from Tom Lawler that we're going to get into in my next video. That I'll cap off with. We'll start with that, and then I'll cap off with UFC on Fox 5. The betting odds. What I think about it, some viewer mail that I got that I'm really excited about. I've actually been talking to a couple of people that think Benson Henderson being on the pound for pound list. Nate Diaz beats him. Would that put him on the? I mean, we just have a bunch of topics to go about, and we're gonna do that in my next video. UFC 154 is in the books. George St-Pierre is back on track. Nick Diaz comes back early 13. Let's see if he can get a couple fights in there. Maybe we will see him. Diaz, GSP. After all, whatever, anything can happen in this sport. That's why I love it. Publish Level 101. Take care of each other. UFC 154 is a wrap, and so is this video. Subscribe, rate, comment. Let me know what you think and about the fight. And Tom Lawler, if you did watch the fight, what do you think about the Tom Lawler? Do you think Tom Lawler won the fight, or it was a split decision? He did. What do you think? If you did watch the fights, what do you think about Tom Lawler? Also in the comment section, where does Carlos Condit go from here? Carlos Condit, obviously, he came into the UFC with high expectations. Didn't really, he didn't excel right away, but he got up there. And but where does he go from here? He fights GSP. He loses to. Does he go way down the ladder, or does he just get a couple more fights to get another crack? Where does he go from here? Let me know what you think. Comment down there. Have a good night.